Good
Good
morning,
morning.
everybody.
How are you today?
I'm great. And you?
I am doing good. It is beautiful here. Looks beautiful there.
Yeah, it's nice out right now. It may get hot while we are hanging out.
Oh,
So you may
here.
find me running inside if it warms up too much.
I'm just getting trying to get the other things up and going over here, but I don't know, it's not working with me. That's all right. That's all right. Yeah, if it gets too hot, run inside. And I'm on a different computer. I was hoping that I still look, I don't know. I feel like my lighting is off. But it might just be, I don't know if I'll be ever able to solve it.
Yeah.
Anyhow, today we've got an interesting topic. Go ahead and tell us about the topic today, Tina.
Well, this is something I struggle with. I know you struggle with it. Anybody that I've become friends with in the reseller community, we all seem to go through these feelings during our journey of, you know, why is this so hard? Or I feel like giving up, or maybe I should just go back to peace time. Just all of the self-sabotaging, doubtful speech. And I've done it from the beginning of my journey, and I've grown to a point where in the beginning I thought I'd never be here. And now I'm at this point and I still do it. And because we just get bombarded with frustrations doing this, and mindset is something I work on daily, and I feel like I am a pretty positive person despite the dips and peaks and valleys in my journey. And I mean, you know me, I think you would say that overall I'm pretty positive, but
Yep.
I've had my challenges, and it sucks.
That it does. It certainly does. I, I as well have struggled with anxiety and depression, and some of it has been obviously a lot goes into it. You have your situation, you have events that happen to you, vitamins, exercise, chemical makeup in your body all contributes to it. And it's been tough. And my son is actually now had started bringing up things, and I'm going to sidetrack here and talk about him for just a second. But, he has asked for tips on how to not be so anxious about things, or nervous about things, or depressed about things, etc. And so now it's not a journey or a situation that I typically want to share with my children, but I am glad that they are learning some of the coping mechanisms or ways to improve your life at an early age. Got a little gnat in here.
Yeah, because
But
these are challenges, being an entrepreneur, being
mhm.
a student,
Oh yeah,
being an employee. I mean, this is life.
it
Um,
is. It is.
mhm.
And he recently he was feeling like he couldn't focus, and he was saying, I just a couple of things he had dropped the ball on. And I said, well, what are you using to organize? Because we had talked earlier previous about Trello boards or schedule or putting things on the calendar, etc. He's like, well, I'm not really using any of those, because I'm just remembering it all. And I go, well, okay, you're getting into that adulthood where we have to have some form of organization. There's no way you're going to remember everything. And he's going into college. And
Yeah.
I said, it's only going to get more complicated going forward. You wind up with bills, you wind up with medical things, you wind up with things you need to follow up with. And then you throw children in the mix, and it's tenfold on stuff. So I said, there's nothing wrong with you. We physically can't remember all the things when you get into an adulthood, and you have to have
Adulting is
tools to
hard.
help you out. Huh?
I said, like you always see the shirts and things, adulting is hard.
Mhm. It is. And there's a lot of things that can get on your plate, and if they're not right in front of you, they tend to get missed. At least
And if
for
we're a
me, that's how it is.
perfectionist, oh, sorry, yeah, if we're a perfectionist in things, which I tend to be a perfectionist, if it's never perfect enough, it's never good enough, sometimes we are our own worst enemies.
Mm,
Sometimes things aren't as bad as we think they are, and they're maybe not even realistically as overwhelming as we make them out to be. Sometimes
mhm.
we do that.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I think on our slides, Oh, I didn't share this. Share screen. There we go, on our slides, and I can hit, if I hit slideshow, then I lose my ability to look at the Facebook comments, but I will see the comments over here. So please feel free to share your experiences or share what has helped you. I don't want our videos, why we like to talk about not the negativity, but the problems with being an entrepreneur. We always like to share what has helped people as well. That's kind of the goal here, is to get better at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Whoa, hi. So the first slide here, oh my goodness, we were just brainstorming things yesterday on why is it so hard to be an entrepreneur and some of the struggles we go through here. And for me, like, one of them is nobody tells you what to do. I mean, when you go to a typical job, you walk in and your boss or the lead or the supervisor, somebody dictates and says, you need to make X product, or you need to work on this project, or you need to attend this meeting. And nobody tells you anything when you're an entrepreneur. That could be a blessing or a curse. What
Yeah,
do you
you
think?
have to be a self motivator. You have to be somebody that doesn't need to clock in and clock out, and it boils down to self motivation.
It does, but even little things like when you get off from work, like nobody tells you when you can leave work.
Yeah,
Nobody does. So a lot of us tend to
overwork.
work 24/7, or maybe just work a couple hours a day.
That's right.
So it's a little tough there. I put on there, it's hard to ask questions. When I get an Amazon email and it's so confusing and I don't know what to do, it's hard to know where you can ask questions and what forum and who to talk to. Because in the Amazon world, it's ruthless. You've got Amazon seller reps that have given bad information. I mean, these are people that work at Amazon and they don't even know Amazon stuff. They will
Yeah.
give you wrong information. They not all the time. I'm not saying all the time, but I have been given and steered wrong by them. I've been steered wrong by other internet, either YouTube or Facebook people saying, do this or don't do that. And it's been wrong information. So what do you think on that topic, Tina?
Well, true. It is hard to ask questions when you're at a job and you have your fellow coworkers or your manager, and you hit a roadblock or a situation. There's like that chain of authority of who do I go to ask for help.
Mhm.
When you're at home and you're at your own computer, we have Facebook to ask. We have our Facebook groups that we're in where we can ask questions. And then there are groups that give you great help. And then sometimes I've been in groups where someone has asked a question and there's been a lot of bad or wrong answers given to them.
Mhm.
So, even in our Facebook group, sometimes we can get good and bad advice, but at least we have that to turn to. But it does make it hard because a lot of times you feel like you're on your own, and at a job, if you had a difficult customer, it's like, oh, I'll get my manager because it's like, thank God they got to deal with them, but we have to deal with those customers.
Very true. Very true. Networking. For me, networking has been wonderful, but with the networking, there are others out there that have had not good experience networking, either bad deals, getting screwed by somebody else. I have seen others on Facebook post saying, "Let me have access to your account, and I'll help you with X problem." And they're scammers.
Yeah.
They don't say, "I'm going to scam you," but
Yes.
it's hard to know who to trust and who not to trust. Nate says, we just got back in town. 30-hour drive. Oh my
Oh
gosh,
gosh,
we are so tired, but back to the business. Whew, yeah,
it's a
I
long
don't.
drive.
That is. Lack of structure in your day and week. This is what almost killed me. When I first started this, the first 6 months, I was all over the place. I had no structure. I had nothing going on. And just by adding structure to my day week, block time and scheduling, etc., made a huge difference, because I was ready to give up in 6 months. I was like, this is too difficult. I don't know when I'm starting. I don't know when I'm finishing. I don't and I had to kind of create that structure myself. What
Yeah.
about you? What's your structure look like now
Well,
then?
I think one of the things that really my structure has changed. I mean, it has evolved over the
Oh,
years.
yeah,
So,
definitely.
um, but that would is the same at jobs too, right? I mean, companies change the way that they do things and protocols. So you're always trying to better it. I think I found the most peace once I really had a grip on my Amazon business. When I was first working, I had to structure what I did with Amazon on my days off around doing my chores and my groceries and having a full time job. Then, when I went to being full time, just doing Amazon, I then had to restructure again. I was so used to getting up and I was a robot. I got up and I got in the shower and I got in the car and I drove to work and then I went to it's because I had
Mhm.
that work structure. Well,
Yeah.
now I was home full time and I had to restructure again, and now I have a pretty good format. And I definitely have assigned myself a start working time and an end working time like I had at my job. Because
Mhm.
let's face it, Amazon work and online work never ends. I mean, it can just go on and on forever. You're
Mhm.
never caught up. You've never finished anything. And that's okay. I'm okay with that now. I just have my ongoing list and I work, between 9 and 4. And that's it. That's when I work. In reality, I probably do work more than that because
Mhm.
in the morning when I'm up having coffee, I'm kind of working, I'm going through my phone and I'm checking notices, I'm checking emails. Essentially that's work. But hey, when I had a job, I did the same thing.
Mhm.
It's just kind of what I do when I have coffee. So, call it work, call it what you do it if you weren't working. That's just what I do. But yes, 9 to 4 is my work schedule, and I try to get done in there as much as I can. And what I don't get done, it's going to be there tomorrow.
Very true. Very true. The next bullet here I have is profit and loss and cash flow is tough to master. And
Mm,
that's kind of my current situation is mastering my scaling up and my employees and getting that profit loss and cash flow into my new shoes per se.
yeah,
And that one's huge. So if you are struggling with that one, I think everybody in the Amazon business has struggled with that and has a different take on it.
yeah. Yeah, me too. The profit and loss and cash flow. I've always been great at budgeting money. I'm really great at planning out our monies, putting money aside for certain, categories of my life, like setting aside vacation, what have you. But structuring and allotting and doing that with Amazon money is just different. It's just so different. And that has been an ongoing struggle for me as well, because I continue to learn and I continue to really like master, this formula. But then Amazon is always evolving too. I definitely pay close attention to my numbers on a weekly basis, which is so important. But the profiting with Amazon has gotten increasingly harder over the years due to the constant increases in fees. And I've known this, but I was really slapped in the face with it this last week after we met last Friday and I did my weekly numbers. I thought, you know what? I'm going to go back through not just last year, what I sold in the month of July, but from the beginning. Like, what did I sell in 2014, 15, 16? Like, I went through Inventory Lab
Mhm.
all those years for the month of July to see, is there something I used to sell, 5 years ago that maybe there's a product similar to it now that's out there, just to get ideas.
Mhm.
And oh my God, did I see fees change? Um,
Oh, yeah.
there are types of things that I still sell today that I did in my first year of selling on Amazon. And that same item, same weight, size, dimension for that same type of product, man, do I not profit as much on that item now that I did then. And hey, I see it in my cash flow, I see it in what I'm profiting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I feel like specifically in the last year, I've had to work twice as hard to make just as much. And, you know, Tina and I are constantly learning, and we meet every week about numbers. In fact, today's our day. We're going to meet probably after the show. But, you can't be stuck in that mentality of this is what it used to be. It used to be you could go to Value Village, find books, find used books, and make good money and start an Amazon business. Now, I don't know if you can right now, but I know it's 10 times harder. Just like back in the day, you used to be able to sell, was it teeny babies or beanie babies on eBay. You can't really do beanie babies on eBay anymore. That's not a good business model anymore. So don't get stuck in the past. And we've always got to be kind of learning what's the newest thing, or how do we work the system to make some money. Drop shipping was really big for a couple of years there, especially when I first started. Everybody's like, well, are you drop shipping? Are you drop shipping? And now you see left and right. I got banned. I was drop shipping. My account suspended. My account is suspended. And that's because drop shipping was not a really good, there was a lot of negativity to it. There still is. And platforms are cracking down because of the theft and the, what do you call it? The fakes that are out there. And that's their solution, is to get rid of these drop shipping types of businesses. You can't just go to Alibaba anymore and grab a bunch of junk and sell it on Amazon.
Yeah.
That's not what's working these days.
Yeah. Things are always changing and they are always evolving. And that's why I'm so glad that I've never had all of my time and money invested in one way. Like
Yeah.
I've always done a little bit of bundles. I've always done a little bit of, wholesale. I've always had a mixture of different things. I like being creative, and that has saved my butt over the years. And I have learned to pivot with Amazon. Do I always like it? No, definitely I don't.
No.
Do I like when their fees go up, or bogus stuff? Like the fuel charges. And come on, Amazon, you can afford the gas in your trucks. Just
That's the truth.
yeah,
Isn't that the truth? Let's talk about KPIs for a minute. Everybody has different KPIs. And if you don't know what a KPI is, it's a key performance indicator. And I have heard all sorts of things throughout the year. I have heard people be very diligent on feedback and customer reviews and ratings and advertising and, return on advertising, your PPC, your profit, your loss, your turnover, your sell-through rate. All of these things are things that can play into your business, and everybody kind of has a different weight to them. Some way more important than others. And I think it depends on your products. If you're doing private label, obviously reviews are going to be huge. If you're selling Barbie during Q4, you could care less about reviews, right? So, looking at your structure of your company and figuring out what your KPIs can be difficult, because you see everybody else focusing on all these different things. And you're like, well, what do I focus on? Good morning, Tycoon. What about you, Tina? What do you like to focus on? What
when
would
I'm
be
looking in my Amazon account, you mean like as far as my health and those
Mhm.
things?
Like, what would be your key performance indicator on how well you're doing?
If I'm selling stuff, if my paycheck's good. I mean, come on.
I would say that's probably number one. Number one.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Everybody has a different setup and threshold. So I just wanted to touch on that because, if you're starting this business, and a lot of times I see the top questions on where do I start? What category do I start with? How much capital do I need to start with,
Mm,
etc. And really, the answer can be all over the place. There's
yes,
no one answer.
that's right.
It'd be like if you came to me and you said, I'm going to start cooking dinner. Where should I start? Food? I don't know. The grocery store? What do you like to eat? How much money do you got?
Yeah,
How
yeah.
are your skills? How much time do you want to put into it? You can go to the Safeway and get a 99 cent, well, maybe not 99 cents anymore, but get a box of macaroni and cheese and call it dinner. Or you could have a 6-course turkey dinner meal. There's all sorts of different ways you can start this business, and different capital starting points. And you kind of got to look at what do you have, what your strengths are,
Mhm.
and then see what is best for you to start with. You can get other people's opinions by all means.
Yes.
Does not hurt.
Yeah, there's not a one size fits all. There's not a
Mhm.
one way fits all with Amazon, and that's the beauty of the flexibility with it. That part is great with Amazon. So these of course would be the things that are positive. But
Yep.
today we want to talk about negative stuff. Dang it, let's be mad.
No, we're talking about how to not be negative, Tina, not be negative. We've got Facebook user, which I can't see your name right this second. What are some of the preparations for Q4? This is my first Q4. Well, we are currently like just lining ourselves up for Q4, making wholesale contacts, or at least this is what me and Tina are doing. We're looking at wholesale contacts, looking at what are trendy going into Q4. What are the big sellers? Like I heard Thor is bombing at the box offices, so I don't think I'll be stocking up on Thor toys. Same with Buzz Lightyear, I heard did not do very well. But make sure that you are selling and have sold toys before, maybe have sold some merchant fulfilled. Sometimes they have requirements for toys and merchant fulfilling, and just figuring out what you're going to sell. Um, are you going to go hard into toys? Are you going to sell other things that are associated with the winter time? Because there's a lot of other things that are associated. You've got winter type clothes. You've got baking. Baking is huge in the fall. You've got all sorts of candy, which is huge. Things like that. And then just look at the Keepa graphs for how things performed last Christmas. Some of them, you go into like October and it's at a $20 price point, and then freaking end of November to December, it's at a $10 price point. Some do that, some hold out on the $20 mark, and those you want to look at those Keepa graphs when you're outsourcing and looking for things how they did. I'm doing that right now, kind of focusing in on Halloween. And so I'm looking at things going back and seeing how did they perform during Halloween last year. And some are at $12 right now. I'm like, oh, that's great, $12, that's profitable. But then the week before Halloween, they tanked down to $6, and it's like, oh, well, people were blowing out. It wasn't as popular, so staying away from those items. Hope that helps. Do you have anything to add, Tina?
No.
Okay. Sign up for ASD. You can at least get vendors if you're looking for vendors. Good morning, Jose. Do you ladies buy and hold winter clothing? There are a lot of AZ to AZ flips on clothing. I do not hold on to really anything. I have some Easter right now that I'm like pissed that I got to hold on to or figure out because it's not selling. Not too much, but I don't typically hold anything. I don't have the capital funds to hold on to stuff. I need to sell stuff. Um, I did not know about AZ to AZ flips on winter clothing, but that is a good tip. All right. What triggers your feelings, Tina?
Oh, my
Hold on.
feelings.
Let
We
me
are
read
human
this.
beings with feelings, and as girls, probably are more in touch and have feelings all over the place compared to our male counterparts. But, what has triggered my feelings over my journey with Amazon is, the not making enough money. First it was I'm not making enough money to quit my job. Now I've quit my job, but I'm not making enough money to keep paying myself and buying enough inventory. Yet slowly while you keep climbing, it's even with my regular job, it's never enough. You start out with an apartment. I want a house. I have a house. I want a bigger house. So I think and going into that next one is comparing yourself to other success. It took me 3 years to what I see some people will post on Facebook. I just started in September and I'm already making X amount of dollars a month, and I'm thinking, dang, it took me 3 years to do that. So but we don't know their backstory. We don't know the capital they started with. We don't know what they were doing before. We don't know if their ROIs is as good as mine. I mean, so, we don't know the whole story. But I think that's one of the things that has triggered my feelings in the past that will make me feel like I'm just not good enough at Amazon. I'm just not good enough at doing this. You know, these are momentary feelings in my journey, but nonetheless, these are feelings I have embraced.
Definitely, definitely. The I can't find good products. Oh
Oh,
my gosh. This week has been killing me. I have had so many products that were out of stock. not in stock, not going to be in stock for a while. Um, yeah, boy, yeah, finding things has been really difficult with the supply chain issues. You're not alone. It is tough to find things, to find good things, I should say.
Yeah, and well, and in the beginning of my Amazon journey, I couldn't find anything. I would watch videos and everyone made it look so easy, or they would, boast about it in Facebook groups like, oh, I found, 845 reprints today, and I've been doing this for 1 week. Of course, I wasn't lying, but that's the way it felt to me. And I would walk into a store and I just like I was paralyzed, like a deer in the headlights. It's like, I just don't get it. I'm scanning things and they're not profitable or they don't come up. Or I would think, oh, what would go good together as a bundle? I remember my first bundles and boy, were they crap. They were such crap. And this was even after I took a bundle course because they were crap because I was learning. Was I trying my best? Absolutely. I was really trying my absolute best. And then I would do the things I said, scan every single thing on one row at a time. You just have to scan every single thing. Well, by the time I was halfway done with the row and had nothing, I was deflated. Like, this is just hard. I just don't get it. I'm just not as smart as they are. I went through all those feelings in the beginning of my journey. And if anyone else feels like that, you're not alone. Most of us who are being honest felt that way too. And
Yeah.
sometimes still feel that way.
I still feel that way every once in a while. I have gone into grocery stores or, picked a section of, we'll just say like mayonnaise or something and scanned around and spent. The other day I was really frustrated. I was bouncing between 3 stores. Tina already knows this, but trying to put together orders and just hitting wall after wall after wall. And at the end of the day, I'm like, oh my God, I've spent 6, 8 hours and I have nothing to show for it. Nothing. And you got to kind of step back and say, wait a minute, no, I learned it needed to be done. I had to go through those items. You have to put in the groundwork. And sometimes that groundwork is not emotionally fulfilling or physically or profitably fulfilling. So it does happen. Jose says that additional fear of shutting down your account. Yeah, we have that
Oh
one
my
on
God.
here
I've
too.
had my account shut down.
Yeah. Tina's gone through that. I have
I've
not.
gone through all the things, like all the things that can happen to you. I think most all of them have happened to me. So that's why I speak with the way that I do, knowing that you are not alone and you can still make it. You can still make a living at it if you want to, if you want to.
Lona or Lana? I'll say Lana says,
Lana, Lana.
hi, ladies. Tina, which bundle course did you take and which do you recommend? I don't know if you want to share that or not. I don't know if it was
Well, you
good
know
or
what? The
not.
bundle course I took is no longer out there. And this was a course I took back in 2014.
Mhm.
It's not even available anymore. But I learned valuable lessons on that course. And actually, I am putting together material because I think I am going to create my own bundle course that I want to share because I have learned so much about bundling. I started my Amazon journey off by doing bundles back in 2014. So I have lots and lots of experience, and I've learned a lot of things since then till now that I actually, at least I want to. I haven't started yet. I do have piles of papers and notes and ideas that I want to create a bundle course.
I think, aren't we doing that together?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we will be doing a bundle
We are,
course.
right? Me and you both, huh? Yes.
I was like, either I got a lot less work to do or I have, anyhow.
I'm just
Yeah,
only speaking on my part of it. Yes.
so we're going to be doing a bundle course and that should be coming out, I would say, within the next 6 weeks or so. We've got to really put some time into that. It's like the time is to-dos are never ending, never ending. We've got struggling with the back end, and I'll group that along with not knowing how to do advertising or create listings. Oh, that is definitely true. Amazon's back end is ridiculous.
It is.
You get things that are flagged and you're like, why is this flagged? Why is this suspected? Why is this suppressed? What? Oh my gosh. The back end stuff is ridiculously
And,
silly.
and gets more and more challenging all the time. all the time. When I
Mhm.
first started making listings, just on that, I used to be able to buy a UPC off of eBay. If I wanted to make my own brand, I just made up the name, got GTIN for it. Yeah, you can't do it like that anymore. And as you know, you tried to create a listing and add a variation to it, a listing you had just created a few weeks before. And it's like, now this category is no longer eligible for variations. Well, okay, Amazon, because 4 weeks ago it was. So yeah,
Yeah.
things are constantly changing. My computer's about to die because I'm outside with no plug-in, so I'm going to have to
All right. You
walk
move
to the
move in.
office.
And I've got Jose asks, when we're talking about bundling, is this kind of bundling where you set your own branding on regular retail products like a sticker or spoon? That kind of bundling will be included, yes. So we're going to try and hit all aspects, and it's going to be pretty detailed. But the do's, the don'ts, the ins, the outs, kind of everything. And it's just a huge, huge topic because you have, what makes a bundle. Even defining a bundle is different depending on who you ask out there. Some people are like, if you take 2 packs of coffee and put it together, that's not a bundle. That's just a grouping. And Amazon is also, I don't want to say cracking down on this, but they are changing how they're going to be doing things. It used to be like if you had a pack of coffee and you have that UPC, you could list that. And if you have a bundle with that, 2 packs of coffee that has a UPC on it, but because it's just a 2 pack of an already thing, it's called a bundle and you could get GTIN exempt to list that bundle. And they're going to be changing how they even do that. And I believe they're going to be doing it by the end of this year, but I don't know because I don't have any insight. But now let's say you take those 2 packs of coffee and add in a coffee mug. That's your own branded coffee mug. Those are still considered bundles by most of us sellers out there, and that would be kind of a custom bundle versus a private label would be going to the coffee store and saying, hey, I want you to produce coffee under my name, and here's a label, and sticking your own label on that coffee from a coffee manufacturer. So you can see how where it gets like bundle, the definition of bundle gets really sticky, and we need to cover kind of all of it.
Yeah, it can be very broad. Sorry, everybody, for that dizzy ride through the house.
Peace and love. I love your name. Rising costs
Yeah.
coupled with Amazon pressure to lower prices are killing third party. Heck yeah. And I think a lot of it has to do with,
It's
to be
tough, man.
honest, we've got Prime Day coming up and they just really want you to lower your prices. And it's like, no, no,
No,
I'm
because
not.
I'm also paying more for them because of inflation.
Mhm.
And my suppliers are not consistently staying in stock because they're still suffering from when factories were shut down. No, Amazon. No, no, I'm not going to lower my price.
Mhm. Exactly. I just wanted to talk about advertising really quick on this slide last. And advertising and stuff is very difficult, and I dove into advertising heavily this year, and I have found like some things worked amazing and then some
Yes.
things didn't work at all. And I did
Hmm.
almost the exact same thing. Like I can't find the difference. I'm like, okay, I kind of cast my net wide on advertising and then see what sticks. And you're constantly babysitting advertising. So if you're struggling with advertising, it is a bit of a struggle too. I've done ASIN competes, I've done keywords, I've done autos, um, all the things. And I've had some that just flat out bomb, and I've had some that do amazing. So it is hit or miss on that end as well. Kind of like bundles. I mean, some bundles were like, oh, okay, this is going to do amazing, and it totally flops. And some
Yeah.
were like, this kind of, we'll see how it does, and it flies off the shelf. So it's weird. Birdie says, Amazon back end drives me nuts. Oh my God,
Oh,
yes.
yes.
I have a listing right now that I have inventory for, but not showing as a seller on the listing. Open a
Oh,
case. They don't understand what I mean. I know. They act like, what? You're
I
selling
have
things?
had
What?
that happen too, Birdie. Oh, and then, so what I've done with that, and
Mhm.
I don't know if this will help. So you're on the listing, it's active in your seller account. I have taken a screenshot for the reps of, the back end showing that it's in stock in my account, however many it is. I take a screenshot of that page and make sure you get the search bar too up at the top, because I've actually had reps many times say, we need to see your search bar. Why? Okay, I don't know why. but okay. So I do that. Then I will go to the Amazon listing itself, take a screenshot of that page, and then click on other sellers, take a screenshot of all the sellers on the listing. I mean, I will go. I want to. Can I cuss a little bit on our show? I will go batshit crazy, taking pictures and pictures and evidence and pictures until I get the result that I want. But yes, it is so frustrating.
Hmm. And sometimes I've had them, the words that I've used is I need a hard reset on this product when it gets stuck in weirdo land. I get things stuck in weirdo land all the time. I have stuff that I have closed down from last Chris or Halloween, and I can't get it to close down. And then I try to recall what's left there, and it says I can't recall it.
Yep,
I'm just
I've
like,
had
oh
that
my
too.
God. OMG. Drummer says, have you noticed your purchasing cost increase? Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. We all
Every
have. Things I bought from my suppliers, even aside from Walmart and grocery stores, right? We all know prices and inflation have gone up there. Bundles and listings I used to sell on, I can't anymore because the buy box at Amazon is still what it was going for when I was buying it pre or recent inflation. Whether these sellers are now willing to take a loss or just had a crap ton of this stuff at the old price, I don't know. Now, as far as with my wholesale suppliers, even some of them are increasing their prices. I have one item that has now increased by 75 cents per item, and it's a bundle of four of them. Well, that adds up. And now I would have to have my listing be so expensive that I just don't think Amazon's customer is going to pay that much for it. So yeah,
mm,
it's been tough. It has been a lot tougher, which is why I asked Lucy, reseller mom, if we could make a video talking on this stuff because I thought it's not just us. It's not
mm,
just us embracing these things too, but we are pivoting and still making things work and still finding profit out there. Um, it's
there's
not
hope.
impossible, but it
There's
can be frustrating.
Jose says, did any of you take the Jim Cochran
I
courses?
did. I did my
Oh, you
first
did?
year.
Okay. Do you have anything to say about them? I personally, if I have taken a course or seen a course, I don't typically talk about it unless if I'm going to strongly endorse it or whatnot, because I don't want to speak ill or bad of other people's courses because everybody takes things differently. And when you're looking at a course, depending on your level, like it might have been amazing if you were just starting Amazon, but if you've been selling for 5 years, maybe it's not amazing. So
Right.
I
It's
don't,
not for his courses are not for seasoned sellers. It would be for somebody newer learning. Now, I haven't looked at them in many, many years. I'm not sure if they are updated material. As far as I know, it's still the same material from many years ago. So things have changed a lot since then. So some of it I'm sure would still be relevant now, and some of it not so much.
yeah. Yeah. I have seen and been privy to a few courses over the years, and all in all, many of them I've been disappointed in what the content was. And it
Me
might just
too.
be because I already knew what they were talking about. I've literally had advertising courses where I bought an advertising course, and there were some nuggets in it, but it was like 90% I already know this, and then 10% or less of, oh, that was helpful type of
Yeah.
things. Telling you basically, hey, you need to research your item to figure out your keywords. I don't need to pay to hear that. I'm sorry. That was not
Very.
helpful. It was like, really? You want to sell a coffee mug and you should research the word mug and find other word. Yeah, I'm like, oh my God. People be charging for things that they don't shouldn't be charging for. But hey, that's their business model. And again, I don't want to knock it because they're making, they got to make their living too. People pay for all sorts of stuff. I've been watching Tyler Henry, which I don't know if you guys know him, but he's a medium. He's got a new show on Netflix and stuff. Anyhow, and it's fascinating to me because totally different subject here, but as a business perspective, he's got to make money too. And I saw that he was visiting our area, and I'm like, oh, that'd be kind of cool to see. I'm not too into the psychic stuff, but he starts his tickets out at $300 a piece, and I'm like, oh my God, that's a lot to go see a psychic. But people pay that kind of stuff all the time to go see psychics or games or be entertained, and people got to make money. So don't knock it.
So maybe
It's
you should have went for $300 and asked him what things you should buy for your Amazon business. Mm,
more of I'd rather speak to my father. That's where that
I,
comes from. But it's rough. It's rough. It's all across the country. Costs are up east to west. Check prices on my trip, and to and back prices are all up. Yep. I haven't seen really prices go down. And some places are much worse than others. I was talking, we had my family from California, Vegas, and me kind of all talking, and we were talking about gas prices. And like Seattle area is kind of in the middle, California was on the high, and Vegas, people are complaining. I'm like, you guys are way lower than both of us, so shut up. Tina, what was your profession before quitting to do Amazon?
I was a barber, so I cut hair and shaved faces. And I've actually started doing that again on the weekends, very part time. It's been nice just getting out of the house and talking to just people again. I'd been home for 4.5 years. And so like, for instance, I'll be working tomorrow, but just for 4 hours. Like, it's super part time.
We've got some ideas here, and I think this is okay. We got two things of ideas. So now that we've talked about all our problems, we want to talk kind of about the emotional side of things, because really mindset is everything in this business. And then just some of the things that we do, or options, not all are applicable at once. Some you can afford, some maybe you can't, and see how we deal with things. So do you want to start off there?
Yeah, so these are things that I definitely do when I start getting just overwhelmed. Sometimes it's not even the beat myself up like this is too hard, I want to quit. Just sometimes I get exhausted, so it's hard for me to take a day off because I've always been a bit of a workaholic. Even when I cut hair, it wasn't good enough just working for someone. I had to open up my own business, and then I had to open up a bigger business, and then I sold those, and then I had to work at the best hotel in the city. I've always been one that wants to um, go up the ladder, but you get wore out, and the world's not going to stop if you take a day off. Your business is not going to go down the toilet if you take a day off. You're not going to ruin your paycheck or your business if you take a day off. Sometimes you just need to unplug and not look at your phone and not look at your sales and not try to find a deal. Just take a day off. It's good. It's good for your soul.
It is. It is. So we have do something that motivates you, like organize a space. I'm going to couple that with do something that you've been putting off, like cleaning out a closet, or something that makes you feel in
Mhm.
control or gives you a sense of accomplishment. And that's what I had to do this last week. I, I get sometimes frustrated. So I go out and I will reorganize or get things organized or tidied up. And it gives me that sense of accomplishments. And I did my poly bags. Believe I did a video about it. I don't know if it's out or yet, not yet, because I schedule things, but just getting all my poly bags reorganized. I do my boxes every once in a while, or an area, or setting something up. How many times have we bought a piece of equipment and then it's like, oh, I got to read the instructions on that. And sometimes I'll put that off. And then when I need something to accomplish, I'll go set up a new piece of equipment or get something done. And that kind of gives you that sense of accomplishment and motivates you to tackle the next thing, especially if you're kind of like on the fence. I've had some things where I'm like, I just don't know what I want. My security system, I just got my security system, but there was weeks my husband was asking me, what kind of cameras do you want? I don't know. The ones that shoot things, I don't know. And he's like, well, do you want live feed or this feed or that feed? And I'm like, oh my God, I need to mull all that over sometimes for a couple of weeks to really hone in on what do I want. And during
Yeah.
that time, I need to do other things that help me and motivate me.
Yeah. And I will have to organize. I mean, organizing, why cleaning sounds like work, right? Like, okay, that sounds fun. Um, just sometimes, like my Amazon room, just there are things that, just get out of place. I see hit a punching bag, right, Jose, for real.
Oh yeah.
So I will like just go through inventory that's piled up in here, or stuff that didn't sell that I pulled at Amazon that I threw in the closet because I'll send it in next year. And I'll find something. I'm like, oh crap, I forgot I had this, as I'm cleaning. And I'm like, oh wow, this is now doubled or tripled in price. Yay. So sometimes cleaning makes you money. And, sometimes you work so much, especially when you're working at home. Thank God for my husband today. He's so sweet. He, cleaned the bathroom and he vacuumed and has been cleaning up, while I was preparing to do our show today. So it's nice, that I have a husband that's helpful that way. But sometimes I will use my guest room to throw overflow in there, just stuff. And then I walk by and then I feel like Amazon has taken over my house. It's like it's in my guest room, it's in my office, it's in the hallway. And sometimes I just need to step back, clean it, organize it so I feel like I have my house back. And that makes me feel just like in control. I like structure. I like things clean and organized. Like I feel like I know what's what and where everything is. That is so, so helpful. That when I do dive back into work, I feel like everything is in its place, and I like that.
Yeah, I have gone through and like the other day I labeled all my files. I have a file folder on my desk that's for stuff that needs a home. Like it might be a new vendor that I need a new folder for, etc.
Hmm.
And moving into the office, I needed a new folder for the, oh, what do you call it? The energy bill and etc. So I sat down and just did my file folder. So I felt good for, hey, Mr. Tina, for punching. Oh my gosh, I like to throw boxes up that I'm not going to reuse. I throw them up in the air and I punch them like volleyball. That's very therapeutic. We've got Triana says, thank you for the reverse research live stream from a week or two ago. Spent about an hour using the technique. Found a great bolo that I've also found many of them locally.
Awesome.
Awesome.
See, and doing
Excellent.
something like that, right? And when we're talking about, I can't find any product, or I just, you know, do that, say, I'm going to spend 1 hour and do some reverse sourcing. If I find one thing, I mean, something like that just like can turn your day around. It's like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I found something.
I like this one. Write down what has been working and focus on the success. And that's on my list of actual things to do today. I pulled my sales for the last 6 months and sorted them by ROI and by velocity. And I've been going through and just focusing on the ones that were good sellers and then making a short list. And then I'll go through and I'll see which ones I want to replan on that. But Tina and I have done this a couple of times. What has been working? What bundles did work? What formula did work? That's
Yeah,
been
because
a
take
really
those
good one.
formulas for those that are bundlers. Take that formula and use it again and again. So for instance, I used to sell, because they don't sell good anymore, but I used to sell wire. Think of like garland, but it's like the skinny wire kind. And it
Yeah,
has,
yeah,
like for Valentine's Day, it'll be red with little hearts dangling off of it, right?
right.
Well, I used to sell things like that, in a 2-pack or a 4-pack. So I sold some for Valentine's Day, right? And they flew off the shelves and I made oodles of money. So what's the next holiday? You have like the 4th of July, the patriotic ones, you have the Halloween, you have the Christmas, you have, St. Patrick's Day. You have lots of different holidays people are going to decorate for. Well, if that 2-pack of wire garland, that 4-pack of wire garland that you did well, do that formula again. But for the net, so when I say do something that has been working, you look at the thing that did work and say, okay, does this thing work, for the next holiday or the next season, the next flavor, if we're talking food products, if it's a bundle of, barbecue sauces, or, are there more flavors of that? Just when you're feeling down and you're feeling frustrated, just find the things that did work. And it maybe isn't even about buying a product. It may be every time I go to TJ Maxx, I just leave empty handed, or I maybe spend 2 hours there and find 3 things. But every time that I go to, IKEA, I leave there with cartfuls, or I'm lucky and I find 10 things. Well, maybe I should just start going to IKEA more and quit going to the TJ Maxxes. Just make a list of where your successes are and keep repeating that.
Yeah, Burlington and Kohl's have been off my replen for months and months, if not like 2 years, basically since COVID, because I'd go in and there's nothing there. So for sure, for sure. We've got a back end question. Sheila says, I think I saw an email from Amazon that Beverly Hills MD products now need 2D. Is there a
Mm,
place to double check
awesome.
this? Yes. If you go to add a products in your seller account, type in Beverly Hills MD products, poke around, and when you go, when it drop down, say new, sell this product, see if you have the sell this product or if it's an application and the application is requiring the 2D product. Easy to find there. The next one we have here, let's see here. Write down the reason why you started this, meditate on this, and envision the reason on what your life will look like. This is totally you.
Yes, I put that in there. I put that in there. Call it meditating, call it prayer time,
Mhm.
wherever you are, in your belief system, um, focusing. There
Mhm.
are times when I feel like, you know what, I'm just going to quit doing this. I'm going to go back to cutting hair full time. Well, I don't want to cut hair full time anymore. Did I love it? I loved my career. I had a great, wonderful career. I actually was doing something I loved, right? But I loved being home more. My reason why was my son had been in a car accident and almost lost his life. And, that's another story. And I had a hard time getting approved time off because at the time of cutting hair, I worked for a big casino here in my city. So you have to jump through a lot of hoops. It's corporate America to have that time off.
Mhm.
And I was already getting tired of standing on my feet 10 hours a day. I did 10-hour day shifts. My shoulders hurt, my feet hurt. There was a lot of pressure because I worked at a five-star, five-diamond hotel. There's certain way you have to act, how you have to speak, and but yet I still loved my job. But I loved my son more. And I thought, fire me. I don't care. I am not leaving this hospital. And I just thought, I'm never going to be in that position again. I already raised my kids missing the weekends. I worked weekends cutting hair. I missed most games. The dad took them to the games. I missed so much in my life. And, for those that still have young kids at home, I imagine a big part of your reason why is you want to be with your family.
Mhm.
My mother's getting older. She lives down the street. I don't want to feel frazzled that on my day off, I've got to clean, do laundry, and I'm just going to begrudgingly fit in my mother because it's more important that I get my laundry done and clean the house and go grocery shopping before I go back to my grueling 10-hour work days. So I had my reason why. And so on the times where I feel like it gets frustrating, like, it'd just be easier to go back to work and cut hair and not have to even think about doing this stuff anymore. I thought, you know what? I love my life. I love being home. I love being home with my husband. It actually made our marriage better. I love the freedom and the flexibility. Like, I have an ear infection right now. So yesterday I had my whole day planned out of what I was going to do. Well, it turned into me getting to sit at the doctor office for 2 hours with this ear infection. My husband ran over to my mom's house to help her move furniture. And then I came home and I dived back into work. I didn't have to call my job and say, hey, I need to go to the doctor, because my life is flexible and I love the freedom that I have. But I'm also self disciplined. I'm going to work. So these were part of my reasons why. And so when times get tough, I focus on my why and my why not. I don't want to stand on my feet 10 hours a day anymore.
Very true. Very true. We've got, let's see here. Ask yourself, is this setback your fault or is it a learning experience? And if you need help, possibly getting a coach or buying a course, watching a YouTube on something you need to learn to help you grow in an area you feel weak in. And those are, kind of two different things, but both something that are important. And when we have a lot of setbacks, like, is inflation my fault? No, but I still have to deal with it. So you got to look at it as a learning experience because I'm not going to solve inflation. And I've had so many things happen to me that were not necessarily my fault per se. I've had injuries or family events, like when my father died. Is that my fault? No, but it's life and it happened. And now it's time to learn how to work remote because I will be spending time in Vegas. So, you got to kind of look at things and change what you can and adapt to what you can't. If that's a physical incapacity, a sourcing incapacity, I've talked to people who live out in the middle of like nowhere, so they have to learn online arbitrage because doing retail arbitrage is not in the cards for them. They cannot physically drive into town 2 hours every day to go to Target to look at things. So you've got to work with what you got and use it as a learning experience. And then this other one, getting a coach or watching a YouTube, I have done that for so many things where I'm like, I don't know how to do this function in Excel. So I'm going to watch a video, or I don't know how to do a profit and loss sheet. I don't know how to do, a flow of inventory through Inventory Lab. These are all things like we have so much available to help with areas that you're weak in, that learning is not really an excuse these days. You can't say, oh, I can't afford college, so I'm just going to be, not know things for the rest of my life. It's like, no, there are groups and coaches and YouTube and the internet out there that you can pretty much figure out how to do just about anything these days. If it's fixing your car, fixing your appliance, raising kids, whatever, there's a YouTube video about it, or TikTok. Birdie says, I keep thinking about going back to corporate America, but when I weigh the pros and cons, being an entrepreneur wins.
I feel you, Birdie. I I totally relate to that. See?
Good luck. Have a good meeting. We lost my mother-in-law, and you have to keep on. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's challenging. I've had my kids at home. I've had my kids at school. I've had to deal with kids at home during the summer, but now they're older. So, my landscape just keeps changing and changing and changing and looks different. And you got to take every change for the better. When my kids were little, I loved doing little things with them. And now that they're bigger, I love doing big things with them. Do I miss the little things? Sure. But am I going to sit here and dwell that they're not at that little age? I hope not. I try not to, but it's really hard.
It's okay to do it for a time because sometimes it's healing to just, and like have a moment with it. But then
Oh,
you gotta keep moving.
yeah. Sometimes it is simple as you just need to vent. Oh, that's true. That's so
Sometimes
true.
I just need to call you and tell you how stupid Amazon is.
Oh
And then
my
once I
gosh.
get it off my chest and
Oh, I
then I
had a
can come back and
stupid
face it.
eBay customer. I had a stupid eBay customer yesterday, and then I had to call stupid eBay, and they told me not to ship because the customer wanted a different address. They're like, "Yeah, don't ship that." And so then I canceled everything, let the customer know, and then they were pissed, and I'm like, oh, "Yeah, stupid people." Schedule time to be pampered. Now, pampered can mean a lot of different things. And I don't want people to think like you need to go get a massage and spend a whole day at the spa and spend $3,000. Pampering could be just having a cup of tea and watching the sunset or sunrise, or something that is relaxing to you. I mean, I have one of those foot baths at home, and sometimes I'll just get the foot bath out and turn on a favorite TV show or something and just soak my feet for 30 minutes and have a cup of tea. And that's pretty cheap and easy. So being pampered does not have to be super expensive. Think of some alternatives if cost is an issue. Now, if you're rich, go ahead, go spend the day at the spa. Tell me about it. Bring me with you. Good morning, Carolyn. How are you? And then the last one on here, we've got take a step back. Wait, we already had this one. What is not work? Oh, okay. So take a step back and analyze what is not working. We already did what is working, and start
Yes.
tackling them to start moving and solving the most important problem that is causing you the most negative feelings. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah. And this is something, I've had to do. It's, when I'm super frustrated, when I have those moments and, I overspent money, this is one that I've done where I've overspent money, and I'm not one that likes the credit card debt. And Lucy will tell you, if I put anything on the credit card, I want to pay it off with my next Amazon payout. I just don't want to do that. But there are times when I've let the credit card debt creep up where I maybe have $4,000 on it, and if I pay it all off with my Amazon payout, I won't have the same amount of money I would usually have to spend. So what do I do? And why didn't that work? Well, I bought that, why didn't I make enough to, and so your brain starts to spin, and then you're like typing away, like, how can I fix this? What did I do? Right? You get this moment of like, did I make a bad purchase? And if that was something that was not working, I have to step back and say, okay, did those items that I take a risk on, have they even hit the warehouse yet, Tina? Are they even there? Have they even had a chance to sell? You know, and if it was something like I made a really bad buy, I will have to step back and say, okay, I've learned from that. I am not going to buy this kind of item again. Despite my best research, this was not a smart move. So that might be something. Sometimes it's as simple as, what's not working is I'm not organized. I don't have my file folders organized, or my bookcase organized where I file things, that my important catalogs for vendors. Now in my case, of course, it is organized, but sometimes it's not. And so sometimes you have to tackle the things that are not working, especially to create structure. Get a dry erase board. You've had to do that recently with your employees. Like, I need you to pack X amount of items per week, right? You've had to analyze that in your business, what wasn't working. Like, look, I have you guys, I'm paying you this much per hour. Why did one of you pack 500 and one of you pack 200? Right? Where
Yeah,
you've
that
had,
was yeah, that and everything in my business does get analyzed, and
Mhm.
some bring value in different ways than monetary, right? But for packing, while it is important that my employees are good people in the general sense, like I don't want to be around anybody that's mean or smelly. Just personally, I've done that before. Put up with somebody that you don't really like just for the sake of working, but I don't have to as an entrepreneur. So other than personality, they do need to bring some sort of value. And I'm going to have probably one of them. In fact, I need to go here. They should be coming in any minute. But one of them is going to help today list some eBay items uh, that just it needs to get done. So monetarily, is that better than packing Amazon products? No, but it needs to get done in my business. So allocating that. But I did have an employee. Some of you guys followed that on my vlogs and whatnot. But after 3 weeks, he was just it took forever for him to change from one task to another, and he often messed up on things, and he just wasn't picking it up. And while he had a really great personality, at the end of the day, if he packed, there was one example where I watched him, and he had about 20 items to pack, and he found issue with so many that he only packed 15, and he took an hour and a half. Now on those 15 items, I make maybe $2 or $3 a piece off each one. So let's say the profit was about $45, and it took an hour and a half for him to pack it. And I'm going, boy, that is ridiculous. I may as well look at a third party packing center, right? And that's where I analyze my labor every week, because third party packing centers charge between I'll just say $2 an item as a general sense. Well, my labor has to be under that $2 for me to justify keeping employees here. Like, it just has to be. I cannot afford other things. And if my average profit is $3 an item and my labor's at $2, an item, well, then that's not very good either. So, trying to get that labor number down is super important. But he was not working out, so I had to let him go. And I just did a whole bunch of things to streamline my business. I got rid of Poshmark, I got rid of Macari, I got out of all the states that I had Nexus in, that I had filed and had been filing with, that I don't need to file with anymore, and just kind of cleaning up things. I cleaned up my boxes, my poly bags, my internet, my files, and got organized. My
Yeah,
Trello board
being
is huge.
structured. Yeah. Just being structured and having systems in place.
Mhm.
And then from there, when you find things that are not working, or maybe you're spending too much in this area, you know, that can help alleviate stress and help push you forward too. When you focus on the things that are not working, and do I need to eliminate them? Can I better them? Can I fix it? And get that monkey off your back.
Mhm. For sure, for sure. And sometimes it's hard. I got rid of my Shopify, I shut my Shopify stuff down, and that's hard because I really wanted that project to do well, but at the end of the day, I didn't have the time to put into it to make it work well. And I felt too spread thin. Like I just can't thin myself
Do
out
all at
and make it
once.
work. And I got to pick which one to focus on. But we have got to wrap it up here, Tina. So thank you so much. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this. I got to mute myself. My ladies are here, so I gotta go.
Okay, I will end the broadcast and say goodbye to everyone. And feel free to vent and ask questions in our group. And that's why we are family, and that's why we need each other. So thank you guys for joining us today. Bye bye.
Take care.